Ankush, you are this superhuman business guy to me. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a businessman. The difference is entrepreneurs are gamblers. We love to take risks. We don't even look back. We are always looking for newer opportunities, trying out new things. That also is a big problem most of the entrepreneurs across the world face because you can't do multiple things.
Sure.
I have always looked up to you for bringing clarity in taking the business forward, which is scaling the business. Out of 100 companies which gets funded today, only 4 survive, only 1 thrive. So which means almost all the companies who get funded die. In India, it's even more higher.
Sure.
So what's your advice to startups? Do they look for funding or do they have to bootstrap? Where do they take that decision?
You're absolutely correct. Success of a startup is viewed by the valuation or the number of rounds of funding that they've managed to raise. Building a business is a mixture of having a clear vision of where you want to go with the business, knowing clearly what is the size of the addressable market that you're going after. When today entrepreneurs step out, I think they have a huge amount of conviction in the ideas that they're pursuing. And I would say most of those ideas may also be worthy of being converted into a proper business that is functioning. But I think where most businesses fail is typically 2 or 3 areas. One, while the ideation may be great, even the funding may be received, their ability to execute makes them fail. Because people are so focused on, getting in the so-called customer tractions and the matrix on which most of these consumer-led businesses are being measured, for me, in many forms and shape, are fundamentally wrong.
Why is it wrong?
I think what is a business? A business is at the end of the day a product or a service that a customer is willing to pay for. I heard Sanjeev Bikhchandani
great
of
answer.
Info. Worry more about the fact that your product or service has a customer who's willing to pay. If you're able to find that on a continuous basis, the rest will follow suit.
Wow.
And focus on execution. Because what is most important at the end of the day is the fact that you are able to ultimately drive the goals that you're set out for the business in a seamless fashion, in the right form and shape. You should always look at building a business that the business is on a standalone basis can sustain itself.
So is it good to be bootstrapped always, or when is the right time for entrepreneurs to look for funding? Or can I start looking for funding with a PPT, thinking that I'm going to get...
Listen, there are different schools of thought, and I don't say there is one school of thought that is absolutely right. My personal belief is you should always build a business that is sustainable on its own.
Lovely.
So I believe in bootstrapping.
Lovely.
And I also believe
How long do you want us to bootstrap?
Well, at the end of the day, you must be able to achieve a certain product market fitment, and you must be able to showcase the fact that there are enough and more customers whose issues you are able to address through your product or service.
So it's always customer.
I think customer is king. At the end of the day, if you're able to build a business which customers are willing to pay for,
Lovely.
and the business can stand in a sustainable fashion on its own, then you raise capital for growth.
Wow, fantastic. Right? So are you saying that when you say customer is ready to pay, a lot of entrepreneurs ask me, how do I price my product? How do I price my service? You say that, forget about all that. If somebody is willing to listen to you, just go there, even if it is free, pick it up. That will build a long-term relationship, right? So how does it work?
So fundamentally speaking, I think price discovery is a journey on its own. I think
it's a discovery.
It's a discovery. I don't think on day one anyone can claim that they know exactly what the customer is going to pay for, especially if they're trying to set up something which is unique. right? Which hasn't been attempted before. If there are parallels, then you have, in many forms and shapes, you have comparatives that you can kind of compare your product or service to say, okay, that guy is selling at a certain level in the market. I believe I can be 10% higher or 10% lower than this individual, right? It really depends on what is the business model, right? If you're the innovator and you're the first to market, I think you are going to run through a price discovery journey, regardless of how good you may be.
I'm not the first to start the idea. Somebody,
Sure.
it's already there. There are 5-6 players in the same market. How do I price it? Do I price it more than them, less than them?
I think it will depend on a case-on-case basis. I don't think there is a standard template for this.
Okay.
But I would truly believe maybe you need to change the narrative. Maybe the way to do it, not at all to price it higher than them or lower than them. Maybe the way to commercialize this is completely a different manner in which you can gather market share. Maybe if you come with a proposition which can clearly define for a customer and you're super sure about that you will be able to deliver a certain outcome, maybe the way to go is to say, listen, I'm not going to charge the way the industry charges. I'm going to completely change the way the commercial offering is in the market. I'm going to do an outcome-based model.
Lovely.
So it depends. Industries go through cycles of commercial model changes. Look at BPO as an industry, right? BPO as an industry started on a per seat basis or a per FTE model basis, went from that to a transaction-based model, went from a transaction-based model to an outcome-based model.
Lovely.
Right? And it's evolved. And did one individual do it? No. At different points in time, different people entered the market and they said, how do I shake up the market? How do I get market traction? And they decided to go with a newer commercial approach, which suddenly gained prominence, and then the rest of the market had to follow suit. So I think, this in itself, like I said, it's a journey. There is no one set answer on this.